evening. I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Nearly 200 dead and tens of thousands displaced, more than a decade since Typhoon Yolanda devastated central Philippines. Another powerful storm battered parts of the same region. This despite billions of pesos poured into flood control projects, or at least that's what records say. Who should be held accountable, and what can Congress do to put an end to this cycle of tragedy and inaction? Let's get on point with Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Senator Pangilinan, good to finally have you. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for your time.
Hi, thank you for having me, Pinky, and good evening sa ating mga nanonood. At again, maraming salamat. Go ahead.
Senator, massive flooding in Cebu and other areas with a death toll at almost 200. This was clearly a shock to many. And some are blaming flood control projects to the tune of, I think the governor was saying 26 billion pesos. Some say could it have been the amount of rain that was dumped in Cebu in particular? It was one day of rain that was actually poured in an area or pupunta dun sa area na yon in 1 hour. Yun po yung description ng Pag-asa. It could be quarrying, it could be climate change. What was running through your head, sir, when you saw that devastation?
Well, immediately, sabi kasi nila, parang Ondoy, no? In Cebu. And Ondoy was 2009. In other words, hindi tayo natuto sa nangyari noong 2009. And therefore, 15 years, later, ayan na, nangyari naman sa Cebu. And yes, the flood control projects, obviously, hindi siya effective, hindi napapatupad yung master plan. I remember sitting down with former Secretary Babe Singson. Sabi niya, anything that you put sa baba ng river basin system na hindi nyo inaayos yung sa taas, mawawash out yung mga nasa baba, lalo na kung substandard, no? So talagang yung master plan for flood control should really include infrastructure that will address yung buong river basin system from the watershed down to the basin sa baba. So lagay sila ng mga flood control sa baba, hindi naman inaayos yung sa ibabaw, kahit na saan, kahit na anong flood control sa baba, kahit na anong region yan, kahit na anong river basin system yan, mawawash out yan.
What should the lawmakers do about this? I just spoke to Senator J.V. Ejercito, and we talked about his master plan for infrastructure and national development. He calls it MIND, M-I-N-D. It's a basic 30-year to 50-year project of infrastructure, a master plan of infrastructure. Sir, it's important, and I'm happy you talked about former Secretary Babe Singson, because I've mentioned this many times, sir. During the Pinoy administration, there was supposed to be a master plan.
Yes.
The problem was, and I read this in the Inquirer, that apparently after that administration of the late Pinoy, that master plan hindi na daw ata nasunod sa mga succeeding administration. Sir, we're going to have this problem. It can happen anywhere, at any time, to anyone. What should you as politicians already do so that we have a master plan, sir, that will transcend every or any administration that comes forward?
Well, dapat batas. Isang batas dyan is the Department of Water or Department of Water Resource Management. Dyan, and I was chairman of the board of the NIA in 2014 and 2015, the National Irrigation Administration. I sat down in the board together with Secretary Babes when he was at DPWH. And pinag-uusapan na namin yan. No? So batas dapat, number one. Number two, hindi na dapat itong yung mga politiko kahit wala sa master plan kung ano-anong proyekto ang iminumungkahi. Dahil may kanya-kanyang pet project and masakit man na sabihin kanya-kanyang kontraktor, 'di ba? Kaya kahit hindi nakasaklaw sa master plan, sige nang sige because the agenda and the objective isn't so much to address the problem but rather make a killing and paano pagkakakitaan. So these are two, good governance, 'di ba? And a policy that will address the management of our water resources. You know, sabi ni Secretary Babe Singson, yung master plan na yan, there are about 18 o 19 river basin system sa buong Pilipinas. And sabihin na nating 19 yan, ang estima para meron kang dam, meron kang diversion dam, meron kang irrigation, meron kang potable water, is about, malaki na yung 30 billion per river system, basin, per river basin system. So if there are 18 times 30 billion each over a 5-year period, 5 to 7-year period, dahil i-construct mo yan, that's about 540 billion pesos. That's not, you know, habang 2 taon ng flood control, trillion. So nandun yung solusyon. No? Nandun din yung allocation ng pondo dapat at maliwanag na ma-implementa in full. I filed actually a bill to create the Department of Water. The President, BBM, actually in his first SONA already endorsed the passage of a Department of Water. So I think we have to go back and bring this back, you know, and address it. So, biro mo yun, masosolve mo yung management ng 18 river basin systems sa 540 billion over a 5-year period. So, andyan ang solusyon. Wag nang pakialaman ng mga politikong sabihin na nating may ibang agenda. Let's implement the master plan and get it going.
Shouldn't this be certified as urgent, sir?
Yes, I think so too. You know, ano ba yung magiging sistema dyan? In fact, you hit all the birds with one stone. You manage the flow of water because of, infrastructure. Therefore, you manage flooding. You manage the need for drinking water or potable water. You manage irrigation.
Right.
For agriculture. And then you manage power because you can use hydropower. So it addresses a multi-set of solutions.
Yeah.
And yes, it should be certified as urgent.
I guess, Senator, it's good to hear about this because if that is true, that there are 19 river basin systems that will cost the government $500 billion pesos in a span of 5 years that will help mitigate flooding, give irrigation, provide potable water, and even use for energy. As you mentioned a while ago, it is a multifaceted approach to many of the problems that we're actually facing right now. But again, I'll go back to, bakit hindi ito na ipapasa? Isn't it so important that we need this yesterday, 10 years ago?
Exactly. But now is the time, sabi nga nila, in crisis there is opportunity. No? So ito ang oportunidad that we work on this. And if this is certified as urgent by the President, then that would be a big boost for it to become legislation sooner rather than later.
Follow-up question on that. Are you saying that this Department of Water will also be in charge of what, sir? Structures that will have to be built to mitigate flooding and all the other areas? Sila po ang mangangasiwa nito? Ganun ho ba yun?
By and large, yes. The NIA will be under it. So if NIA is a infrastructure authority as well, irrigation, and then you'll put LUA,
Okay.
MWSS under it for potable water, a portion of the Department of Energy on hydropower can likewise be placed under the Department of Water.
Okay.
So yes, it will be a department wherein you put under it, you put all the necessary authorities, administration, government corporations that have something to do with water.
How can we be assured, Senator, that the 2026 budget will not have these particular insertions of politicians that will basically just serve their purpose and somehow make it appear that it is for flood mitigation projects, or even road reblocking projects, or even safety measures for those people driving, such as solar lights, CATS lights, etc.?
Well, one step at a time, and so far we're moving towards that. No, for example, about over 200 billion was removed, no, from the flood control budget of the DPWH, and reallocated elsewhere. No, so yun, that's a first step. Now, tama ba yung reallocation? The budget debates for the Senate will begin next week. So we will have to double check that. We've also removed from the DPWH two key items: the classroom building program and the farm to
Farm to
market.
market, right.
So these two items have been removed from the Public Works Department, placed under the DA, and placed under the DepEd. So that again is an intervention that will secure, the utilization of these funds and put to good use. And it's not like hindi naman ito parang nag-uumpisa tayo sa wala. Under the Secretary Brother Armin Luistro ng DepEd, because of agreeing to have private sector come in
Yeah,
in open and public bidding,
right.
get the local governments to match itong school building program. We were building 600 school buildings a week, and we achieved that because private sector, local government, and national government came together.
Yeah,
And in contrast to 22 school buildings this year. So kayang gawin yan. And I think that should be the template, not just for DepEd, even for agriculture.
Yeah.
PPP combination, open, transparent public biddings, and get the local governments on board.
Yeah.
If you will remember, the flood control scandal, part of the reason it happened was because hindi sinama ang local government, no? Pinwera sila, no? So dapat lang ayusin natin yung sistema, merong transparency, at merong public accountability, at may active participation ng private sector.
I think it's really important, sir, that we are able to go to someone or blame someone, even for that matter, for issues or projects rather that we see that are not up to par, up to standards. Because you're right, sir. Nung lumabas po itong isumbong sa Pangulo and this whole flood control scandal came to fore, I mean, even I myself was questioning, is it impossible? Walang alam ang LGU dito. And some of the LGU officials I've spoken to actually really said, yeah, they were left in the dark. Still so much to talk about, but we need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with Senator Kiko Pangilinan when we return. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. Still with us, Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Senator, just a quick question on that flooding in Cebu and other areas. Should there be a Senate investigation regarding this?
Well, you already have the flood control investigation by the Blue Ribbon Committee, so
Okay.
maybe pwedeng isama dito sa pag-iimbestiga yung mga nangyari sa Cebu.
You said that ito nga pong Department of Water should be certified as urgent. Another bill you called on the President to certify as urgent is the bill on the IPC, or the Independent People's Commission. Sir, also, I guess, just quickly, how important is it really to have this passed into law the soonest possible time. While we have right now the ICI, and there are, of course, also, I'm sure you've heard some sectors quite unhappy just with the pace so far of the ICI.
Well, that's correct. The Committee on Justice, of which I am chairperson, conducted a hearing during the recess on this measure that was filed by Senate President Tito Soto, the Independent People's Commission. And we invited, and they were present. Justice Andres Reyes was there, Secretary Babe Singson was there, and they both endorsed the measure. Uh, uh, Mainly because they felt the ICI could use, more powers, could have more teeth to be able to investigate more thoroughly. Immediately, they said we don't have the power, for example, to cite persons in contempt. They don't have the power for securing the opening of bank accounts. Wala silang immunity from suits, no? And they also are merely fact-finding, and they're saying that they only had 3 lawyers full-time and another 10 volunteers. And at the time that we heard it, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, hindi pa nare-release yung budget nila.
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't have sufficient, how do you call it, support for live streaming, the technology. So clearly, marami silang hindi pa maaring maisagawa given yung limitations. So we hope to be able to, there's one final technical working group on Monday, after which hopefully by Tuesday or the latest Wednesday, we will sponsor this measure. And if the President certifies it as urgent, then we can pass it on second and third reading on the same day. Not necessarily next week, because of course there will be interpolations, but at least it will fast track.
Very important, Senator, that this is going to be passed at the soonest possible time because as mentioned a while ago, meron pong ilang mga medyo nababagalan dito sa ICI. Also, it's been discussed over and over again that the powers of the ICI are very limited. In the event, sir, that the IPC, Independent People's Commission, is passed into law, sir, how do you envision this? How does it actually begin? Number one, who are the members and where do they start? And is there going to be, something like a website kung saan pwede rin pong magsumbong yung tayo po, dito sa Independent People's Commission?
Yes, in fact, we are incorporating a number of provisions that will make sure that it is transparent and open, and that there will be access by the public. No, the proceedings, as a rule, should be public, although they can go into executive session as an exception, provided that there is, the grounds for executive session are meritorious. So yes, we hope to put that in place. These provisions, napakahalaga. The other one is kailangan mas welded together siguro, para hindi layering, because some people are saying wala na, ang kapangyarihan naman ng pag-iimbestiga ay nasa ombudsman o kaya sa DOJ. So ano ibig sabihin nito? Pagkatapos ng fact-finding, ire-refer pa sa ombudsman at sa DOJ, tsaka panibagong proseso, baka lalong ma-delay. So what we intend to do is provide specific provisions in the proposed law, in the committee report, wherein we will mandate the Department of Justice and we will mandate the Ombudsman to create a separate pool of prosecutors precisely to support
I see.
the IPC, so that on day one of the operations of the Independent People's Commission, nandyan na.
Nandiyan na po yung DOJ and
nandyan na.
Ombudsman.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And if they already submit a report, they have a final report, what happens?
Sorry, naglalag.
Okay, Senator, sabihin po natin si IPC, magkaroon na po ng submission ng report. And sabi mo nga, the Ombudsman will already be there and, well, a member of the Office of the Ombudsman and the DOJ. Where do they forward this particular submission or referral?
Diretso na sa korte.
I see.
Sandigan Bayan. There is also a suggestion to create special divisions of the Sandigan Bayan to address this. So we're also looking into that because, but that may require a new law, no, a separate law creating new divisions.
Senator, to those who are saying that, don't we have enough laws for this? We have the plunder law, the malversation of public funds, graft and corruption, etc. Is there really a need to create another layer, another organization to look into corrupt practices?
Well, good point. And that was also raised during the hearing. And it was Justice Puno, former Senate President Frank Drilon, who both said that unusual, extraordinary circumstances require unusual, extraordinary remedies. This is not going to be a permanent body. We're envisioning it to have a a period of 3 years, after which it becomes functus officio.
I see.
Yeah, that's number one. Number two, ultimately, and if you ask me, and I've said this before, ultimately, the test of all of this is how speedily this will be disposed by the courts. It is not the IPC that will render a
Final
conviction.
judgment, yeah.
It's still the courts,
Right.
And I would like to think, and I've said this before, there were over 20 plus senators and over 100 congressmen who were linked to, di ba, nasangkot dito sa Napoles scam. And kung merong lang na-convict doon at nakulong doon sa dami na yun, baka hindi na nangyari itong mas malaki pang corruption scandal.
I remember you said that during the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing that actually caught the ire of a colleague of yours, Senator Jinggoy Estrada.
Yes, but like I said, that was 20 senators. That was, I didn't mention any names. But anyway, I explained that to him. Wala namang personalan dito. And sa totoo lang, I was just expressing the sentiment of many of our kababayans na wala namang nakukulong. Maliliit lang ang nakukulong at yung mga malalaking tao ay naabsuelto. And so their concern is a valid concern. Ganun ba ang mangyayari ulit dito sa flood control scam na ito na pagkatapos ng ilang taon mauuwi sa absuelto?
Okay. Senator, I have a few minutes left and there's still two topics I'd like to discuss very quickly. Ito lang po yung sa SALN. It didn't sit well kay Ombudsman, former Ombudsman rather, Samuel Martires, nung sinabi nga na dapat ilabas muna yung yung SALN ng former Ombudsman. Let's listen to what he said during my interview with him. Let's play that.
He also just filed a SALN of 23 million. Is that believable? Why didn't he let his wife, Sharon Cuneta, join or state his assets and liabilities in his SALN?
So that's questionable to you?
Yes, because the requirement of 6713 is joint. Whether your wife is in the government or not. Marami ho kong kaibigan, marami ho kong empleyado sa ombudsman o sa ibang ahensya ng mga asawa na sa private pero sinasama yung income ng asawa sa kanilang declaration of assets and liabilities. Bakit sa hindi? Nakatingin ba sa ibang direksyon? He is the one violating 6.
Yeah, I was hoping, sir, that you'd at least answer that on air, sir. Please go ahead.
Well, actually, I already did. And I don't want to belabor the point. Sharon and I have a prenuptial agreement, and the civil service rules on the SALN and a Supreme Court ruling in 2019 provide that in cases where there is a prenuptial agreement between spouses, the declarant, in this case me, is not required to report the assets, separate assets and property of the spouse. So tapos na 'yon.
Okay.
mali siya ron. And ayun.
Okay. Senator, just one more topic, something of course very close to your heart. Ano po? Very recently, there was this public-private partnership framework para po dun sa full implementation of this Sagip-Saka Act. Para po, this is napaka-importante kasi yun pong ating mga mangingisda at magsasaka. Sila po yung parang, sila na yung nag-provide ng pagkain para sa atin and yet sila po yung parang hirap na hirap pa para mabuhay, ano po. I mean, they don't really get a lot financially. So basically, how will this help? Number one, our Filipino farmers and fisher folks, sir.
Well, the Sagip-Saka law provides farmers and fisher folk access to the markets through government direct purchases.
Okay.
So that in itself, the biggest buyer of food in the country, single biggest buyer, is the government. Hindi pa kasama yung calamity relief ng national at local governments. 70 billion na ang binibili ng pagkain. AFP, mess halls, PNP, canteens, Department of Health hospitals, BJMP jails, Bucor jails, calamity relief of the DSWD, feeding program. The feeding program of the DepEd is about 11 billion a year.
Wow, yeah.
And so malaki. And therefore, the law says exempted from public bidding when government buys directly from farmers and fisher folk. So that's the first step. But of course, this will then give the farmers incentive to be able to plant more. If they know government will be buying at the right price, then they can enter into a credit facility with microfinance organizations. And the microfinance organizations, knowing it's government that will be purchasing it, papautangin sila. At pag pinautang sila, then they can use it for added labor, they can use it to buy more farm implements, farm inputs, fertilizers, pesticides, seedlings, so that they can expand yung areas na planted para mas maganda ang harvest. So that's what the Sagip-Saka law is all about. And the reason why we pushed for this executive order was because this law has been around since 2019. I campaigned on this platform of Hello Pagkain, Goodbye Gutom in 2022. I went all around the country, and I did again in 2025. And in most of my discussions on this law, dala-dala ko yan. Hindi lang ako nagsasabi, iboto ninyo ako. Sinasabi ko, pag tayo po ay nagwagi at nanalo, implementa natin itong batas na ito. I was giving it left and right to all the local officials that I would come across during the sorties. And one thing was clear, in most of my visits, they were not aware that the law existed. May batas palang ganito, no? So I said an executive order was critical so that it becomes
To fully implement it.
Yes, and therefore we did it. No?
Okay.
In fairness to the president, he listened. So this is just a first step. We are going to work on restructuring the Department of Agriculture. We will renationalize extension service.
Okay.
Kailangan hanggang municipality may DA. Hindi pwedeng hanggang regional lang. And dapat tighter ang coordination ng DA with the LGUs and the private sector. No? Kumbaga, ima-match ulit. Parang yung school building program para talagang maging effective yung implementation ng mga programa, dapat kasama ang private sector, dapat kasama ang LGU. So renationalizing extension workers and bringing back the co-ops under the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Agriculture Co-ops para mabigyan ng sapat na atensyon at suporta ang development ng agri-co-op sa bansa.
When can we expect this, sir?
Well, we are now working on technical working groups. In other words, we'll be ready to sponsor these bills before the end of the year.
All right. I wish to speak to you again. We've run out of time. Senator Kiko Pangilinan, sir, pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Pinky. And sige, we'll see each other again and magandang gabi sa kanila lahat.
That's On Point. Join us again on Monday, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.